Hey, Pepin.
Yo, 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 yo.
I've been thinking a lot lately.
Just thinking.
Yeah, just so much. You know, do you have any idea how much time I've put into Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, kind of. I get the idea that you're very into it. I didn't know that, to be honest, but the last time we saw each other in person, we needed to make a decision, and all of a sudden you pull this giant roll, not roll, this giant bag of die, and you're like, okay, which one do you want to roll? Like a D4, D5? I have multiple of each. We can roll two at the same time. I people are going to think I'm joking just for the intro here. I'm not. This was
No,
literally what happened, and
it did.
it was in his pocket.
Nate, I need you to roll for initiative.
Meader, we need to talk.
Welcome back. So glad you guys could join us. I am here once again with my best friend, Nathan. Pepin, how's it going today, Pepin?
Yo, I'm doing well. How about yourself, Meader?
I'm doing great. Just pounding down a kind bar and drinking some Nos. Getting ready for a good Saturday. We are joined today by good friend of the show, Bamashockz. How's it going today, Bama?
Doing pretty good, Meader. I heard we were talking about D&D. Let's go.
We are, and it's really exciting because you are a streamer, a professional streamer who actually streams 3 different D&D sessions as a dungeon master, and you're a player in the campaign, the private session that we do on Friday nights, where I'm the DM. I get to be God.
Being God is addictive, Meader. It definitely is.
It very much is, but it's, I don't think God gets enough credit. I think that being God can be a very difficult thing, especially when everybody is so petulant.
I try not to be a petulant God. I try to be quite benevolent and giving, very giving.
Okay, so it's Saturday right now.
Yep.
Last night we did, hey, Zach Delcourt, good friend, all the way back from college. Excited to hear some D&D talk again. So welcome to the show. Stainsby stopping by, Langell, Travis. I love it. Last night we had a session and it was cut short. There was an emergency by some of the two of the players. So we did cut it short, but man, shit got heavy.
So basically, a human woman that has been floating around our mythos since the very first session.
Yeah, we're on session. This was session 12.
Yeah,
12 weeks.
She was cut down and unhealable and is DED dead. We brought her back to the town of Foreside, where we have been loosely residing at the inn for 2 months now. And her young son was extremely distraught by the loss of his mother, and all of our hearts were breaking right there with him. And he was just like, we got to fix her. We got to fix her. We got to fix her. And we're just like, we're trying to say like, look, bud, like we don't have the tools necessary. And with that, he's like, oh, well, somebody does have the tools. And we were like, oh, dear God. So
Okay, just to
huh?
let's go back for a second.
Oh, are you here?
Is this like a player character or is this an NPC that's you're trying to heal?
We're gonna go fan favorite beloved NPC, or at least the son is like one of our characters, our monk, is for some reason he feels really drawn to this single mother and this child, and the child has as well attached himself to the monk. So like they're not integral to the overarching story, but from a character development standpoint, they're quite close in.
Okay, so they're technically side characters, but they're like maybe not integral, but they're important to the narrative or to the gameplay.
They're important to the characters.
Important to the characters. Okay, and how many people are in this session? Is it like 3 or 4, or is it a lot more?
Well, that depends. If you count the party, it's a party of 6 playable characters, but
Mhm.
there are an assortment of around 10 NPCs that are played by people other than Meader. It's an interesting dynamic, unique to this session from my experience.
I see. Okay, and Meader's the DM in this one.
He's the DM and he plays a lot of the NPCs, but we also brought in Brian and Dave from the TPC podcast, and they control a lot of NPCs quite admirably, I might add.
Mhm,
Langell does
mhm.
D&D
Mhm.
too? Everyone does D&D.
Langell has brought an aspect to some of these NPCs that has infuriated the player characters as well as endeared the player characters.
All right. So I'll be interested to hear about that. Sorry, getting back to the story. So they brought this NPC, or this girl, the single mother, to a
Back
I don't
back
think
to town.
back to
She's
town.
dead.
Okay.
We brought her back to town. Showed her son, told him what happened, and right after that, he is dead set on finding someone to bring her back to life. And they beseech the local magic user, which I'm really still not sure if he is druidic in nature or what his actual magical calling is. But he said that he could perform a true resurrection on her, and that was about the point the emergency happened. So like we're all emotional, all up in our feels, trying to put a plan together about how we can come up with the components to cast this spell, and we had to stop. So like we were riding an emotional wave that just like crashed into a wall, and I don't know how to live with myself today because of it.
And I mean, these NPCs, Bama said they've been there since the first session. This is week 12. Um, and their entire first quest was all about saving this little boy. He got burned, and they needed to find like all this stuff to make a potion to heal the boy, and that took like 8 weeks to do. So almost the whole play session so far has been about
Mhm.
saving this little boy. And then like Bama was saying, the monk has a relationship of sorts with this family now. And then the mom dies, and they were there for her dying. So it was like, and they were trying to defend her. They watched her die. It was very, very heavy.
Hearing about this is kind of interesting because there's 2 different levels happening here. It sounds like, because there's the level of, like, say, the player characters, or not the player, like the players themselves becoming attached to these characters. There's also the other level of the players' characters, like the actual characters they're playing becoming attached to, which is also kind of feeding into the attachment of the actual player themselves. Which it's a weird dynamic there, the way you're
A
describing it.
lot of overlap.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of overlap. Like when you're playing your character, and everybody in the group is so good. They're invested. They care about the story. They're all telling their own story, building their own characters. I have this overarching world and story that I'm sending them on. They're traveling through this land and doing all of these things, but they're all telling their own story at the same time. So everybody has a story to tell while on this grand journey, and it's the most amazing experience to have everybody like giving a shit all together doing this thing. So everybody's invested in their character, they're invested in the story. They're active and engaged, and it's really, really unique. So when they're playing their character, they for those 3, 4 hours, they are that character. They're thinking about it when we're not playing. Bama's the most common one to be counting down throughout the week. 64 more hours until we play again. It's amazing. It's very very rewarding for sure.
The passion derived from this campaign is what drove me into running my own session, just to have an outlet when Friday isn't happening. And then Saturday wasn't enough, and I added Sunday, and then I added Saturday. Meter's like, I wish I could play in one and not be God all the time and just be a humanoid. And I'm like, okay, we'll do Sunday. And that helped feed the itch. And then I'm like, well, everybody in Saturday knows everybody in Sunday. What if I just go and recruit random people that nobody knows, and let's see how that conveys out? And that's how we got Tuesday's session. And then two people from Friday night who aren't in the Saturday and Sunday were like, well, we could pick up a midweek game, and then boom, we've got 3 days a week. We are doing D&D
Twitch.tv/Bamashockz
on
with
top
a
of Friday.
Z for those sessions. Really, 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 really amazing stuff you're putting out, and our Friday sessions are unreal. I think it's the dream of any group, of any DM to have a group like we have.
All right. So does this lady survive? Does she get turned into like a zombie, or is she just like, in heaven or something?
We don't know because we got ripped away due to 2 players having to leave.
That's right. That's right.
We could only push the narrative. Meader could only push the narrative so far before he had to stop it.
All right. So Meader, what are your plans? Are you going to kill her?
Well, she's already dead.
Okay. All right.
So hey, whoa!
The little boy told them, hey, have you seen my mom? She said she was going out to pick blueberries. And way earlier, like session 3 maybe, they had gone out to the blueberries. They needed to gather blueberries for the potion. And they knew that there were some gnolls out there, and they managed to avoid them and run away. Gnolls are like humanoid hyenas, pretty much.
Okay.
With weapons and bows and arrows and stuff. They were able to run away. So they knew the gnolls were there. They didn't fight them then. So now 6 weeks later, they hear she goes out to the blueberries. They know that's where the gnolls are. We didn't kill the gnolls. Those are still there.
Oh my God.
Comes back to haunt them, right?
And that's our fault.
So they run off.
I gotta go.
And they go and they get there and they snap a big branch, and Marcia, who's the woman, yells out, hey, who's there? And they're like, oh, Marcia, it's us. She's like, okay, come on over. I'm at the blueberries. And they try and get her to come back. And then there's a fungus called a violet shrieker that starts shrieking, and it entrances her. And now she's stuck staring at this thing and walking over to it. And then there are 2 other fungus that live near that shrieker that release poison up into her. So now she's like down on one knee. They're rushing in to try and save her. And then an arrow comes in and hits her in the chest, and another one through her neck. And she's bleeding everywhere. She's dying from poison, and she falls to the ground dead while they're fighting, trying to defend her before they can get over to heal her. It was the turn before Bama was able to go over and heal her. She died right in front of them. And now they know we have to go back and we need to tell John Boy, a 6-year-old little boy whose father just died recently, whose whole town was just blown up, that now his mother is dead and he's an orphan. So it's
and now I realize it's our fault because we didn't kill the gnolls ahead of time.
Now there would have been a chance at saving her if the RNG or just the die rolls happened to work out better, or maybe there's a bit more planning.
Man, Marcia rolled bad. Oh my God, she rolled really bad.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of emotional turmoil, and because they're invested in their character, being able to give them opportunities where there's actual stakes. It's a lot harder to kill the character because then you're writing out a person who's like a player. Though that very well could happen if they roll that bad, but it's much easier to put an NPC in danger and then make their actions reflective of whether an NPC lives or dies. And they on top of that, 3 other NPCs had died like the week before. 2 of them they couldn't do anything about. One of them was in battle, played by another person. Dave plays that NPC, and he died right in front of him. He was killed by an enemy. So they had to bury those 3. The next morning, Marcia's killed, and now they have to tell an orphan that he's an orphan. It's brutal, and it was very emotional for everybody, including myself. I had to play the little boy who was being explained to that his mom died, and that sucked, but it was so worth it.
See, this is just like unreal to me. Like number one, Steve acting,
yeah,
and number 2, playing a little boy and explaining. Like, Back in high school, I never would have expected this, Steve. I never expected you to be like role playing in this kind of way.
What do you mean, Balagar? Where's my mom?
No, too soon. I can't. No, I can't.
So like he's and I kind of I followed the stages of grief a bit. So first he was in denial. He wanted to see her, and then he saw her. And then he immediately was angry and he's like, where are the people who did this? And they're like, the party's like, well, we killed them all. And he's like, good, I'm glad they're dead. And then now he wanted to strike some sort of a deal. He wanted to find a way to bring her back. And it just so happens that there was somebody who's now offering that as an option. And obviously he's like, well, that we have to. There's no choice. We have to do that. There's a way to bring her back. So that's where they're currently on.
It will come at great cost.
25,000 gold pieces worth of diamond.
Okay. So I'm sure a lot of people, who are listening to this episode are probably like, hey, what's going to happen next? Is she going to die? Is the orphan going to die now? Are they all going to die? So if they were to want to get, say, tuned into that or find out, is there a way for them to find out? At least a Twitter message saying, hey, Martha, she dead.
She did.
So that's okay. So yes, you're welcome to reach out to me. My Twitter is @Meader. I don't really check that. If you really want, I can give you the Discord link, and I have it set up so that fans can join the Discord and watch and follow along, and can even listen in on sessions. You won't be able to talk. You won't be in the sessions, but you'll be able to listen to everything live. So I welcome that. I would love to have like an actual audience in house in this private thing. This is like super, super private, but that's the thing, right? I can't tell you what's going to happen. Not because the party members here, not because there are other party members watching this stream, not because I know other party members are going to be listening to this show, but because I don't know. I give choices. The party makes decisions.
You don't. Yeah. Right. You don't know what's going to be chosen. You don't know how the dice are going to roll. You put the obstacle out there. It's our job to either circumvent it or go through it. And sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'll be asking next week or whenever you do your next session about whether Martha lived, died, or is now a zombie. Because I'm hoping she's a zombie, and maybe that'd be kind of cool. Have like a zombie mom. But yeah. I mean, who knows? It could be cool. Awesome. So, are there any other D&D thoughts or any things that maybe we want to talk about? You said that you're doing like a stream 3 times a week, Bama.
Yes, I can list all those and where they're at now. We do the Lost Mine Saturday, 6 p.m. Central. We do Tomb of Annihilation Sunday, 4 p.m. Central. We do Dragon Heist Tuesdays, 6:30 p.m. Central. All of this is over at twitch.tv/BAMASHOCKZ.
And this is all done with like when the viewer tunes into this, what do they exactly see? Is it just like, is it like a tabletop sort of thing, or is it like an online sort of map?
It is a virtual tabletop hosted through roll20.net. Like, we're not sponsored by them or anything, but that is the method I use to show the characters what's going on as well as show the audience.
It's very cool. It shows the physical map of what's going on, and there's handouts sometimes that show like this is the character you're talking to. And it shows where we all are in positions with enemies, and as we attack, you can hear everybody talk. And Bama does a really great job, highly suggested. And if you want to not only see that, but also hear a familiar voice, I myself do play a character on the Sunday one. So maybe that's where you start. But regardless, highly suggested, just check one of them out: Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, and over at twitch.tv/Bamashockz.
Now, we didn't even tell them about the benevolent God aspect of it. Through my partnership with streamloots.com, we are able to, through the audience is able to purchase chests and give gifts to the players in the game.
Oh, that's intriguing.
It's really cool. I've been given a lot of really cool stuff, and it's made me a very powerful robot.
We'll see how powerful next weekend.
I was wondering about that. So you are a robot because you did the robot voice earlier, and I was like, is Steve a robot or is that he just like doing a funny voice?
Yes, Nathan, I play B-2107, a war-forged paladin in the Tomb of Annihilation every Sunday. Twitch.tv/Bamashockz.
Now, is being a paladin in your coding, or is this like, just how you are?
Tune in Sunday and find out.
Oh God, we need to watch Twitch Sunday.
Good outro. Flawless.